The Champions League second leg is finally here. Nail-biting, head-scratching encounters. And if the first leg is anything to go by, we are in it for a treat tomorrow. It starts off with Liverpool versus PSG, Atletico Madrid versus Barcelona. And on Wednesday, it's going to be Bayern Munich versus Real Madrid. It's going to be Arsenal at the Emirates versus Sporting. And I can tell you right now, these games are just going to be fire, right? This is all I've been thinking about ever since those first legs that took place. So before we delve deeper, right, into this whole matter, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and also share in your thoughts. Which game will you be watching, and what do you predict the scores will be? So we'll start with Liverpool, right? Liverpool against PSG. What a game that was. Liverpool did the same thing that they did last season. They went to the Parc des Princes with a mentality to defend, right? They defended, but for whatever reason, goals came, right? You see with the Desiree Doué goal, there was nothing there, but he saw an opportunity to shoot. Van Dijk tried to block it, and it just went up where Mamadou was just out more. So it went in and you couldn't, you couldn't take it out or fist it out, whatever. You couldn't do any of that. And the ball went in, which was very early in the game. And that got me really terrified, right? Because like, how do you concede on the 10th minute? You're thinking it's going to be a long 80 minutes. We're probably going to get thumped 5-0 or something. But our defense was rather calmer. You know, they didn't lose their head. You saw Van Dijk he was more of a captain. That's what I want to see from Virgil van Dijk. Whether we concede or not, what I want is his leadership. Once it gets tough, I want him to yell at the players. I want him to keep the players going. And that's what he did. You know, even when we conceded the second goal through a Kvaratskhelia goal, an amazing goal, by the way, from where it was passed to how he just handled that whole pressure and still find himself to be calm and choose where to shoot the ball. He did that and they got a second goal. But I must say that Liverpool could have actually conceded more goals than two. Mamadou, I thought he performed really, really well. And I was surprised to see, people talking about saying that he was bad and that they wanted Alisson there. Of course, initially when I saw that Alisson is not there, I was worried. But once the game got going, I liked how he was just calm. He saved us multiple times. Like I said, we could have at least, conceded 5 goals. But he was resolute. He made the right saves at the right time. And I couldn't be more happier for him, and I hope he built on that. I hope he didn't see, what people were saying on social media with their frustrations. Of course, they'll just pick to just about anyone. You know what I mean? But I thought he did really well. So we're hoping at Anfield, Liverpool will do better than they did at Paris. Liverpool will attack more and hopefully we'll be able to get goals. Unfortunately as well, Isak is not really himself. I saw him on the weekend against Fulham. I don't think he's there yet. But hopefully Ekitike can be able to get his scoring boots on. Because on the night at PSG, he was just nowhere to be seen. He held play, of course, but when he was closer to the keeper, instead of pulling the trigger for whatever reason, he just couldn't control the ball. And with PSG, they're quick and they bring at least 3 players to you. And if you don't get your shit together as quickly as possible, they're going to get the ball. And once they get the ball, the attack starts yet again. And that's something that I think he needs to work on at Anfield. I hope he manages to think fast and act fast. That's what we need if we are to get anything in this game. Like I was saying, with the 2 goals that they scored and the game ending 2-0, it was good for us. Of course, they'll be happy they won at home. They should be, right? But for the fact that it's 2 goals, we're looking at it as Liverpool fans and we're licking our lips, right? That, you know what, it's doable. 2 goals, that's not too bad. We may be able to get 3. But of course, what Liverpool needs to do is that they need to be good at the back. They're not supposed to be making mistakes. There's a mistake that I can recall off at the back of my head when Maka made that mistake. He gave the ball away and there we could have been punished by, of course, the striker for PSG. And you're looking at those minor details and you're thinking, look, if Liverpool manages to avoid making silly errors, right? If we avoid that, then we have this under wraps. And of course, at the back of our mind, we have to think about the fact that, look, these guys beat us, right? They can't beat us now. And this season, we have been terrible. This is the only thing that can make us, feel better and forget about the terrible season that we've had this season. So Liverpool can actually turn this around. If anything, we're at Anfield, and Anfield is a place of miracles, right? I'll be there to support the boys, even though it's difficult to do that. And thank goodness we won against Fulham as well. We managed to win that game. It was going to be difficult for us, playing against a Fulham side. They're very stubborn as well, very stubborn and very physical and quick too. But we managed that game very well with, the Rio Ngomoha goal, which I think against PSG, he might really find himself getting at least 15 minutes. And I think he might make, a bit of a difference there. So looking at that, I do think that we can be able to win this game. It is just a matter of us being too perfect. We need to be perfect, especially, not giving this PSG a chance to do anything. So defensively, we need to be resolute, right? And I would want Virgil van Dijk to bring that leadership that he had away at Paris. I want him to bring it at Anfield. And if he does that and we have our scoring boots on, I think really we may have a chance. This is now or never, right? It's do or die. It's 90 minutes on the clock with one chance remaining. If you get it right, you are through to the next round. And this is what we are going to need to do. You know what I mean? So I'm looking at this game and I'm thinking we're going to win it 3-0. We're going to win it 3-0. There's no mistake. I believe that our boys can do it, and our boys should do it. We've had a terrible season this season, and right now we have just one chance to just make it worthwhile for our legends, Robertson, for Salah as well, which I hope he features, because he couldn't feature in the previous game, which I thought Slot, did the best possible thing that he could do. It was already too late. What he was trying to do was trying to protect the 2-0 that we have, against us. He didn't want it to be more, so that it gives us hope for when we're playing at home. And now we're playing at home. Yeah, the Kop will be behind the team, and Salah might just find a way to play. He got a goal as well against Fulham, so we may definitely, have a chance there. Then, of course, we have Atletico Madrid at the Wanda Metropolitano against Barcelona. It's going to be a difficult game, this one. It's going to be a difficult game, because look, Barcelona got a red card, right? Through Kopasi, right? Kopasi, he got a red card. And shortly thereafter was a free kick, which was scored. A beautiful free kick, by the way. A beautiful free kick. And from there on, obviously, Barcelona are 10 men down and Atletico Madrid are smelling blood. They haven't won at Camp Nou for a long time. And this is their chance, right? This is their chance. And they used it. They managed to win that game 2-0. It looked like Rashford and Yamal were the only players that were serious in that game. They wanted a win. They created so many chances. They could have scored, but they couldn't. For whatever reason, they just did not have their scoring boots on. So they went on to lose that game 2-0. And on the weekend, we saw Barcelona, win their game 4-1. We saw Atletico Madrid field a completely different 11. They went on to lose that game against Sevilla 2-1. So they have rested their players. And on Tuesday, right, they're going to have their full squad. It's going to be an amazing game. Barcelona are ready. Of course, we saw Yamal now, on Instagram. He just posted King LeBron James holding in, one of his awards there. And you can see that the boy is locked in. The boy wants to change the tides and he wants to get it right. But what I'm seeing here is that Atletico are going to be super defensive. And they're going to have, the mental fortitude as well as the strength, because of their home. Their fans are against them. And that's going to help them. But in as much as I want to believe that as well, you look at the fact that it's only 2 goals. 2 goals is not enough, to just go and just defend. It's not enough to go and defend. They're going to need to score goals. And I don't want to find them trying to score goals after Barcelona have scored 2. You understand? So now they'll be panicky. And when you're panicky, you start attacking in numbers, and that's where you leave yourself susceptible to things like counter-attacks, which this Barcelona side can be able to do easily. So I'm thinking what they have to do is they just have to play their game. They also have to create, looking at the fact that they are at home and the fan base is with them. So they have to also attack and not just play haram football, which is something they're known for. I know tomorrow they're going to defend. They're just going to defend and defend and defend. They'll only start playing once they have conceded 2 goals, which, they had as an advantage, which I think is just going to bring them trouble. With this Barcelona attack, it's going to be close to impossible to just sit deep. You know what I mean? So They could get something out of it. Truly, they could get something out of it. But I think they should just play their game. They've got the quality. If they could put so much pressure on this Barcelona side to end up getting a red, that means they can play. They've got quality players, so they have to use those quality players. And if they do that, then I don't see any problem. I see them advancing and possibly facing Arsenal in the semi-finals, which I would like to believe that they may have a point. They may have a chance there too. So they're going to need to go all out. And on Wednesday, of course, it's going to be, Bayern Munich versus Real Madrid. And we know that Bayern went on to the Santiago Bernabeu. Even though the Santiago Bernabeu was closed, the roof was closed, Bayern played their game for majority of that game. They played their game, they scored their 2 goals. Olise was amazing. My goodness, Manuel Neuer was even more amazing. How he made it difficult for Vini to get space to even shoot. You see the amount of chances that Madrid had, especially when things started moving on their favor. They created so many chances. They also tried to score, but it was just too difficult because of how good a keeper Manuel Neuer is. You look at those things, and now you're thinking, it's different now. You're going to the Allianz Arena. That's their own backyard. If they were able to play like that in your backyard, you can only imagine the wrath that is going to be for Real Madrid at the Allianz Arena. It's going to be difficult, and I'm not going to lie and give Madrid hope, although I believe that they've earned the right to have that hope, right? I mean, this is their favorite competition. They've won it countless times. I think they've got 16, if not 15 Champions League trophies. And, luck can always just go to their side for whatever reason. There's just always going to be that moment of luck that always rides with Madrid. And if it comes and Bayern are sleeping, they're caught napping, that tide might just change. Because you saw it even at the Bernabeu, how things just changed for at least 20 minutes right into the second half. That 20 minutes before the match ended, it was just all Real Madrid. They just kept on attacking. And they could have gotten something there. But the calmness, the experience, the quality that comes with this Bayern side is different than anything that this Madrid team knows. Manchester City obviously isn't like that. They fold under pressure. Liverpool, would also say the same thing when they've challenged this Madrid side. And right now they have a different foe in this, Bayern side. It's going to be difficult, but doable. I mean, at the end of the day, you have the best player in Mbappe. You've got, the second best player in Vini Jr. You've got, what's his name? The Englishman, Trent Alexander-Arnold with his passes. If he manages to get those passes in with the speed that those two players have, they can definitely get something there. And of course there's Jude Bellingham as well. We saw how the game changed once he was introduced in the second half. And if they start with him, they might just have a chance. It's going to be difficult, but they might just be something there. There's Mendy as well. Mendy might just do a better job than his teammate, against Olise. And if things go right, Madrid might just, they may just win. But I don't see it though. Let's just be honest with ourselves. I don't see Madrid being able to beat Bayern at their own backyard when they couldn't do it at their own home ground. If they do it, that'll be a shocker for me. I would not believe it. But anyway, at the end of the day, this is the Champions League. It's the quarterfinals. We are open to be shocked. That's what we want. You know what I mean? As neutrals, of course, we want football at the highest level. And both these teams are at the highest level. And if anything, shocks are just part of the game, and we might just see ourselves seeing that. There's Arsenal, of course. I don't know what's going on with this Arsenal side. They managed to beat Sporting Lisbon 1-0 at the dying minutes of that game. And right now, they're coming back from being eliminated in the FA Cup. We've seen them lose against Bournemouth 2-1. Right? And now they'll be playing at home in the Champions League. These are 3 different competitions, by the way. It's the FA Cup, they lost. It's the Premier League, they lost the game as well. This is the Champions League. We might just see them lose it too, right? They are, I don't know, for whatever reason, it looks like the wheels are coming off, which is quite funny if you think of it, right? That this is a team that took all its players from from international duty. And I'd like to imagine that it didn't want any injuries, and he wanted to make sure that they're back so that they can be able to prioritize the Premier League as well as the Champions League. And right now they've just fucked up in the Premier League. they've just brought in Manchester City. You can see Manchester City won today, and now they'll be playing against Manchester City, obviously at the Etihad on Sunday. And if anything happens in that game, Manchester City wins, then Arsenal are fucked up, right? Right now, they're going to play against Lisbon, which I must say that Arsenal is very lucky as well. They're very lucky to be playing, to have, gotten a team like Sporting, because, I mean, it's easy for them. But from how they've just been playing, they might just see themselves losing and, being eliminated from the Champions League. And that's something that Arteta is going to need to work on. There is no time now to be losing, themselves. They just need to forget about the noise that is outside, because, of course, that's what people want. Arsenal fans, they talk a lot. And us as fans of different football clubs, we're just waiting on them to fumble, right? We're waiting for that. So you would only imagine the negativity that comes from social media. So right now, Arsenal fans, Arsenal players, they just need to focus on Sporting. And if they get a win, if they manage to win that game, then it might possibly give them, the confidence and the excitement, now going to the Etihad. It's difficult, and Manchester City are a difficult foe to play against. It might just help them. A draw there could also help them, and that's what I feel they need at the minute. They just need the full support of the fans. The fans needs to be there. The fans needs to be supportive of their team. Don't let the two losses that they just went through to bring the Emirates down, to bring panic into the fans, because the players feel that panic, and once that panic sets in and they feel it, it may just disturb them in the field. What they need is support. Even when things are not going well, you need to show them support. They are quality players at the end of the day, and if you go with them through thick and thin, at the end of the day, you might just celebrate, a Premier League win and maybe a Champions League, so that's what Arsenal fans needs to look forward. And if they do that, then they might just see themselves, winning that game and advancing to the semi-finals. So I do see possibly Arsenal winning 2-0, right? Arsenal winning 2-0. I see that. I see Bayern 2 managing this game very well at 3-0. They're going to thrash Real Madrid. I don't see Madrid actually even scoring in that game. And I see possibly Barcelona beating Atletico Madrid. Yeah, I see Barcelona beating Atletico Madrid 3-1, and that possibly goes to extra time, and it goes as far as penalties, and Atletico Madrid manages to win that, through penalties. And of course, I see Liverpool beating PSG 3-0. It's doable. Believe it. You heard it here first, right? So thank you guys for watching until thus far. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and also share in your thoughts in the comment section. Which game will you be watching, and what do you think will be the score in that game? Thank you guys for watching. Bye-bye.